The 2020 regular meeting of council to order. I will give the invocation this evening. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Help us to use good judgment for the business at hand and guide us in wisdom and a continuing sense of truth and fairness for the community we represent. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Julie, please call the roll.
Antic?
Here.
Byrne?
Here.
Blake?
Here.
Donovan?
Here.
Dowling? Here. Kirchner?
Here.
Krieger? Krieger?
President Perry's unmuted.
Signal that you're here. Got some help coming. All right. Good evening. I want to welcome the public to the City Council virtual public meeting. You are attending through the published WebEx link. You'll notice a window open on the bottom right-hand side of the screen entitled Q&A. This window will have opened 5 minutes prior to the start of the meeting and will remain open for 10 minutes after the meeting begins, for a total of 15 minutes. During that time, if you wish to address council at a later point in this meeting, please type your name, address, and the topic you wish to speak about. This is the only means for you to schedule your participation, since the public cannot physically attend in person at this time. At the appropriate time during the meeting, I will recognize you and you will be unmuted. You will be permitted to make comments to council on the topic you requested to speak about. If you wish to comment on an item on the agenda, you will be recognized when that item appears on the agenda. All other comments unrelated to the agenda will be heard near the end of the meeting during the persons before council portion of the agenda. Speaking requests at this time, and thank you for your virtual participation. Rule of minutes. Council, you received the minutes of the regular meeting of September 1, 2020. Move to approve.
Second.
Will you please call the roll?
Antic?
Yes.
Byrne? Blake?
Yes.
Donovan?
Yes.
Dowling? Yes. Kirchner?
Yes.
Krieger?
Here. Yes.
And council has received the minutes of the special meeting of September 8, 2020. Move to approve.
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
Mr. Lanting?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling? Yes. Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Public hearings, we have none. Tabled legislation, we have none. New legislation, ordinance number 20-0-072.
Ordinance authorizing the city manager to award a bid contract Beats Builders, Inc. for the Meadow Regional Response Facility and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Flippia.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. And we're very pleased to finally be moving forward with our regional responsibility. I think it was actually turned out to be fortunate for us. The timing on this was delayed because we did get a very favorable bid. See from FMO, the original estimate, engineer's estimate was $3.4 million. This comes in at just under $2.8 million. Just as a reminder to council, funding for this project is $2 million bonded debt and $500,000 grant by the state of Ohio. And the balance of that will be off through our fire levy fund. I have both Chief Searles and Chief Dunshire. I'll ask Chief Searles first to just speak just a little bit about exactly what this is, and Chief Dunshire to do the same. Chief Searles.
Thank you, Mr. Flipback. Members of council, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and consideration. As the manager mentioned, we're excited about this project, and it's been a long time in the waiting. The Meadow Regional Response Facility will house a number of our assets, mostly for our special teams. There'll be 6 bays for fire, 6 bays for police. the Mobile Command Center, Water Rescue, USAR Technical Rescue, Hazmat, Mass Incident Casualty Equipment, and our new Heavy Rescue Special Service Vehicle will be housed there after it's built. It'll also serve as a meeting center and a command center for whatever incident needs we have. It'll also serve as a storage facility for things like the National Strategic Stockpile or vaccine if ever that's needed. So it's going to serve our purpose well for many things, but it's mainly going to service our special teams. They'll conduct drills there, and it's also available for incident management if that were ever needed, whether that's an area command center or an incident command center itself. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Chief Dutch.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I would just go along with what Chief Searle said. The Meadow Regional Response Facility. It's going to house for the police department the regional bomb squad that is housed right now in this older city building over there, the old road garage. It's going to be a great upgrade. It's going to house all the vehicles and all the trailers and the equipment. It does have a training room to help out. And it will also be able to do training there on site for some of their robots and different other equipment that they have. And I'd be more than happy to answer any other questions.
Council, what is your pleasure?
Move to suspend. Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Dowling? Yes. Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes. Move to approve. Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling? Yes. Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Ordinance number 20-0-072 has been approved.
Mr. President. If I could, just very quickly, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the Lake County Port Authority as well for their assistance on this. It took quite a while for us to negotiate the sale of a portion of the property on the airport grounds. They worked with us both in the design and with the approval process through FAA, which was really accounted for the delay on this project, but we did it successfully, and we appreciate their cooperation along the way.
Cooperation noted. Thank you. Ordinance number 20-0-073.
An ordinance to authorize revisions to appropriations and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Flipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Malinowski, please.
Thank you, Mr. Filipiak. Members of council, this appropriation ordinance affects three of the city's funds. Firstly, it authorizes an increase to the city's general fund in the amount of $85,000 for IT telephone expenditures. Secondly, it authorizes an increase and corresponding decrease in the amount of $24,379.80 to the senior levy fund for a reallocation of budgeted funds from wages to the other handicap door replacement project. And then most importantly, it authorizes a net increase of approximately $3.3 million for the recently new created fund for the CARES Act federal monies that have been received. This equates to a little less than 30% of the period of March through September for safety force compensation and benefit portion. So our intention is to report as much as possible based on compensation and benefits in that area to retain all of the, or as much as possible, the CARES Act funding. I would recommend approval unless the city manager wants to add a little more to this.
Nothing to add at this time, other than we do anticipate that we may get another allocation through the state of Ohio for CARES Act dollars. If that is the case, and we expect that it will be, we'll be looking for an additional appropriation. Goal being to
utilize these funds during the pandemic fully by the end of not September. It looks as though the CARES Act dollars will be extended. The deadline for utilization will be extended probably till November 20th. That's what it's looking like at the Ohio legislature right now. So ask for council's concurrence.
Move to suspend.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Ordinance number 20-0-073 has been approved. Resolution number 20-R-124.
A resolution declaring the appointment of Samantha J. Atkins as Assistant Clerk of Council and declaring an emergency.
Council, what is your pleasure?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Landig?
Yes.
Mr. Marne?
Yes, and welcome to the team.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Dowling?
Yes.
Mr. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Ordinance number 20-0- I'm sorry, excuse me, resolution number 20-R-124 has been adopted. Second reading, none. Third reading, we have none. Manager's report, Mr. Filipiak.
Thank you, Mr. President, Council. On Saturday, October 3rd, Lake County will be holding a hazardous waste collection at the Lake County Fairgrounds from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and you can check their website for details on that. The Center Street Resurfacing project, as you probably all noticed on your way in, began today with milling operations. This project will resurface Center Street from Bellflower Road to Munson Road. Two-way traffic will be maintained throughout the project. However, daily lane closures are expected. Work hours will typically be between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with occasional overnight lane closures. And work hours may be extended on days when asphalt is placed. Right now, the project is expected to be completed by November 16th. I think it's probably worth noting that, we've had a few folks call in and say, hey, why are you doing this right when school is starting? And obviously it is an inconvenience, but really this is a coronavirus related delay. This project is primarily funded through ODOT dollars that were not appropriated at the state level until well after the project's initial anticipated start, which typically is sometime after July 1st. As a result, all of these projects are getting started late. Another project, the Hopkins Road resurfacing, which is another OPWC project for us, will be bid this year, but probably will not proceed forward until the spring. So the pandemic has affected a whole lot of things, but we felt it was important to move this project along yet in this season because that road really needs it. So we'll get through that. Blackbrook Golf Course greens and fairway aeration will take place the first week of October and will last approximately 1 week. The new all-inclusive Civic Center playground will be completed by the end of this week, weather permitting. This will allow persons of all abilities to enjoy Mentor's newest playground. And we want to note that was in part made possible by an Ohio Department of Natural Resources grant. We will have a ribbon cutting for this, and obviously council will be alerted to that very shortly. The new Mentor Ice Arena bleacher system has been completed in our west rink. This is the first seating upgrade there in 37 years. The bleachers are permanent on the lower level, and the upper level remains retractable. Capacity has increased from 600 to 700 spectators as a result of the improvement. And just a reminder that there are only 2 farmers market days remaining on the next 2 Fridays, and September 25th marks the end of the season. And council, I'm very happy to say that despite the struggles in our economy, we do have 2 new businesses to announce. Core Biolabs, which is doing business as CMCD, is now at 7956 Tyler Boulevard, and Revolution Pizza at 7346 Mentor Avenue. That's all. We wish them well.
Clerk's correspondence.
Nothing to report.
Commission committee reports. Meeting minutes, Board of Building Zoning Appeals, August 11, 2020. Municipal Planning Commission, August 20, 2020. Old business. New business. Persons before council. I see we have no one queued. There are none.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
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 Adjourned.
Thank you.
Suspense then.